3, 2.
Today I want to talk about what the hell is going on in the media with all this pandering to random groups, and what they're using is hate against white people. Now, I've covered a couple different stories, both here on YouTube on the podcast, and then even on TikTok. If you guys want to go check out our TikTok there, same JTH show. And consistently, I'm finding many people using the same talking points that we're about to show you guys here today. That's coming out in this example out of CNN, in which they're outright at this point literally saying that we should kill white people's kids, or just white people, according to a recent statement from Mr. Chris Cuomo. So let's go to that article real quick before we start with the videos, okay? CNN's Chris Cuomo says police reform will not happen until, quote, white people's kids start getting killed. Now, one of the things that I want to point out here very quickly is how serious this can be just by pointing out things like the like to dislike ratio. Look at the likes on this. For those of you guys listening on the podcast, we have a total of 225. This is hot off the press, right? This is the 18, which was yesterday. And the RF Angle is not a massive big website, but it already has 225 people liking a disgusting headline like this, right? Now, it goes on to describe the video, actually, which we have, which we're going to see right now. We're going to react to, Josh and I. But it's just, it's beyond disgusting.
Shootings, gun laws, access to weapons. Oh, I know when they'll change. Your kids start getting killed. White people's kids start getting killed. Smoking that doobie that's actually legal probably in your state now, but they don't know what it was, and then the kid runs and the pop, 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 pop. Cop was justified. Why'd you run? Oh, he had a baseball game tonight. Oh, a white kid. Oh, big family, that house over there. Those start piling up. What is going on with these police?
What's going on with your BS freaking stereotypes? Big family, that house over there. What does that even mean? And then the kid was running because he was heading over to a baseball game. I get what he's trying to do. I get the poison, how he's trying to poison the water here by saying, oh, as opposed to when they supposedly shoot a black kid or a kid that is of color, he's typically not running to a baseball game. I mean, what? Disgusting. But let's continue.
Oh, what? Maybe we shouldn't even have police. That kind of mania, that kind of madness, that'll be you. That'll be the majority, because it's your people. See? Now, black people start getting all guns, forming militias, protect themselves. Can't trust deep state. Whoo-hoo! You'll see a wave of change.
Okay, that's where the video ends. How pathetic is it for this man to say something like, oh, black people start getting guns. Black people already have guns, you piece of shit. Like, there's nothing in our current legal system that doesn't allow black people to have guns. I know plenty of people that have come out, and they're black, by the way, and they have an arson in their home. And that's fine because our laws here in the United States allows them to have them. And they should, because the law allows people to arm themselves. Until those laws are changed for whatever reason, if they are ever changed, anyone can own a gun. I don't know what the F is he talking about by trying to say, oh, what if they get them? All of a sudden, it's going to get bad. What are you talking about, dude? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. That's the thing. It's saying, it's pretty much saying, so these are not people, pretty much. I think I like to think this is after listening to that very first part before we even finish, it reminds me of a British politician in the 80s, 90s whose name was Enoch Powell. who had a very famous speech, which was the Rivers of Blood speech, which was basically saying, if there is more, more immigration and stuff like that, then, there's going to be rivers of blood, and that's coexisting two races together. And that's pretty much what this guy's doing. He's instilling fear, which is absolutely disgusting,
Yeah, it's and it's a lot of what I've been saying, man. This is why I mention it. And I know sometimes it sounds a little weird even to hear that increasingly, okay? Not I'm saying that it has been happening for the past 200 years. Let's just say in the last 4, maybe even 6 years, there has been a steady uprise in hatred against white people. Why? Because we have so many dumbasses out there, Chris Cuomo is one of them, that will go out on national television and say things like, when things will change, guys? When the white kids are dying. Wink. Anyone out there? Wink, wink. Isn't that what Trump did? What literally CNN blamed them? They had like all these panels to discuss how Trump was out there trying to, essentially push people over the edge and making them, riot the Capitol. That's what they were saying. And when he did that day, ultimately his goal was to incite it.
Mm-hmm.
What is someone
Exactly.
like Chris Cuomo? What does that do? I ask, right? So before we move on to further commentary, I want to show you guys something real quick. Okay, that already happened about a year ago, and if people can try to twist this clip all they want. They can try to dig up, and when the person started filming, when they start recording. In my opinion, these words should never come out someone's mouth, regardless. Because if you would replace the word white, and you're about to hear in this video, with any other ethnicity, you would flip. People would flip. All right, so let me show you something that didn't make the rounds too much. Some people might have seen it, but it was well suppressed in comparison to other clips of hatred, of racism. So let's go to that clip real quick and show you that. So this happened about a year ago, allegedly, in Sherman. So this is not necessarily brand new, but here it is.
They beating up every white person. They jumping every white person. Man, no white person come down Sherman. He white. Beat his shit, bitch. That's what it's for.
I mean, how disgusting is that, man? I don't even know how to process that without being upset.
It's people like Cuomo that they're using the oldest trick in the book, man. It's divide and conquer, and it's working really well for them. So they're not going to change tactic anytime soon. I mean, I'm not for any type of violence. I'm not going to try and justify them. I mean, they shouldn't be saying that kind of stuff. But I understand it. I understand it if the context was something along the lines of there were white, what do you call those? Agitators. I mean, I don't know. I don't know the context of the video. I'm not going to try and justify it either. Like you said, that stuff shouldn't be coming out of the mouth of somebody. But at least I can understand it and try and understand and try and be empathetic about it at least. Do I think it was right that their reasoning to say, beat up these white people better not come down to Sherman? No. I mean, yeah, if you look at it, dictionary definition, it's racist.
It is.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, I do completely get that. Should they say that stuff? No. Do I get why they're saying that stuff? Sure.
Okay. Well, in terms of the conversation of they're saying it because possibly, like you said, there were agitators. I mean, I guess if that's one way people would try to rationalize it. But I again will say, if you would replace the word black or white person, I'm sorry, with black person, with brown person, or whatever, the media would have a field day. Then it's racist, flat out racism, right? And I'm so tired of this BS excuse that people say, oh, or try to use when referencing racism and white people is like, oh, white people can't experience racism. First of all, just pick up a dictionary, will you? Okay. It is possible for a white person to experience racism from another race. We're not talking about always about systematic racism. Josh is white. And in Mexico, if all of a sudden they start treating white people poorly, that would be racism. Okay. Now, it happens to be that in Mexico, my people are obsessed, not all, but many, with white individuals. And I've talked about that in other videos. They are. They love the anything Spaniard, they put it in an altar. You know, un altar, right? I don't even think that's actually the right translation, but whatever. You get my point, right? They do. Is every single time? No, of course not. There are very many full-blown patriotic Mexicans that are like, no, screw anybody else that's not Mexican. Not everybody, but many. But here's what I'll say. In the United States, at least, anyone can experience racism according to the definition, of the dictionary. It's just that simple. Can everybody experience systematic racism? That's a different conversation. Do I think that systematically speaking, one race has benefit more than others? Sure, I can agree to that sentiment systematically. But just outright things, that are just inciting violence, anybody can experience that. And if you're throwing in things like, oh, they're white, like you just saw in that video, get them. That's racism. That's violent, racism. And guess what? White people can experience it, right? As you can see there. I mean, what otherwise, what would you tell those people getting apparently their ass kicked there? What would you tell them? Again, if we're throwing hypotheticals out there, right? It's racism. Now, I will say this, just like any group, by the way, any group, Latinos, African-American, white people, any group, Asians, any group, I don't care, pick a group. Eventually, they will either A, stop becoming supporters of movements, or will just start filling their heart with hatred and saying, why would I support your movement when I see my people getting hurt? Because that's the excuse that many people of color, including Latinos, by the way, including anybody that's not white, will say, even if they have never experienced it, they'll say, well, my people have been oppressed. Or, and again, you'll ask some of these people, like, when have you been oppressed? Well, it doesn't matter, but my generations, before me have been oppressed. Anybody can play that card. Anybody can use that. You come across a white person that's seen all these videos, all this hatred on, mass media, and they can say, I've never experienced it. Josh can say right now, I've never experienced it, JT. Never have I experienced racism. But if Josh, right, would allow himself to get manipulated by the media and by all these videos out there, all of a sudden Josh can come out the woodwork as a very oppressed, angry individual saying, screw that. I just won't. And that's how you lose allies. That's how you lose people that are there to support. There are thousands of white individuals, whether they're European white or here American white or Canadian white. It doesn't matter. Just white people that will join these movements, right? For all types of lives matter, like Black Lives Matter, Latino Lives Matters, and they'll go there. And I've seen them. And all it takes is a quick Google search. But my question remains, how long until those people, not all, but some, will just say, you know what? Screw it. I'm no longer going to participate in supporting you because all I'm seeing in the media, all I'm seeing in random little videos and TikTok is hatred against white person just because I'm white. The rules can't be changed, ladies and gentlemen. It's not just that, oh, well, they haven't experienced slavery, so they can never, ever, have a justification for, quote, leaving the movement or leaving any movement, right? Do you understand where I'm going with this?
Sure, I think I do. And I do get the point that you're making. I think there's a lot of responsibility, I think, particularly of a lot of white people and a lot of white men who need to be a lot more aware of how big the problem really is. I think such a violent response has come from people who are, instead of trying to fix the problem, they try to become as woke as possible and become basically without questioning things. It's a lot easier just to give them whatever, whatever person that's asking for their rights. It's a lot easier just to give them to them without asking and without actually listening to what they really need. And that's why a lot of things in society, they're just not working.
Right. So listen, I'll also add one more thing before we go to the last clip here, or actually the last article. I've gotten a few comments from people, right, that will tell me, oh man, why do you have to look as a brown person, by the way, as a Mexican? Why do you have to look, after the well-being, if you may, of a white person, right? And I've gotten countless comments, everything from they have oppressed you too, which then I'm like, what? Or your people? Huh? I don't know where that, I don't know how that's not racist, but okay. Everything from that to, we saw that comment, right? If Chauvin was free, my neck would be under that person's neck. Yeah, there was a comment like that, by the way, for those of you listening, right? Saying that my neck, me, would be under Chauvin. If you guys don't know who Chauvin is, it's the disgraced officer that killed
George Floyd.
George Floyd. Okay? And again, I don't know how that's not racist, but okay. And I say to these people the following, which I'll leave on here for the record, right? Because the internet is forever. One, you cannot pretend that you will only back either your skin color or a minority skin color and look away when there is an injustice because of a simple logic. We would not be where we are now in the United States if it wasn't for so many white individuals that years ago and generationally, right, have decided not to turn a blind eye to the injustices against people of color. If you don't understand that there has been white people in favor of, whether you want to go all the way back to slavery in freeing slaves, then you don't even understand half of what happened in, during the Civil War. If you don't understand that Martin Luther King had people shoulder to shoulder that were not black but white in fighting so much oppression that happened during that time, you don't know your history. We all need each other. Whites need blacks, blacks need Mexicans, Mexicans need whites. It's a big, gigantic ecosystem of good individuals that are level-headed that will allow us to move past all this BS division that people are, by the way, doing, like Chris Cuomo, CNN, for the purpose of views, for the purpose of monetizing, for the purpose of just generating, money. And a lot of us, unfortunately, won't see past that and will fall right into their manipulation and all their games. But it takes all of us. It takes every shade to support each other, right? To get past this BS division that, again, I repeat, the media will do. Not every single media. I feel like I shouldn't have to say that, but okay, to give credit. I don't want to discredit those in the media that are also working towards stopping and pointing out, right, when someone is trying to be divisive for the pure purpose of views. But I'll leave that on here, right, for the record forever. So you understand why, as a person of color, as a Mexican, whatever you want to call me, will come out here and point out injustices that are happening. And if they are happening to white individuals, I'm going to point it out. Because again, I understand very well and have learned plenty to know that when there was injustices happening to people of color, some, not all, some white people stood up and said, yeah, I'm not going to stand for this shit. But can you imagine, right, if every single white person throughout history would have had the mentality that some people are, with the shit that they're trying to message me with, or why do you care about them? Understand, where the hell would we be?
It's an equation. It's one of the equations and most popular ones in capitalism, isn't it? Fear plus anger equals money, pretty much.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And they know how, some of these people know how to manipulate it. So check this out. By the way, this is the next and last story. We have an article that is letting us know that Maxine Waters must be removed from office. Former congressional opponent tells Fox and Friends. Now, by the way, if you guys don't understand who Maxine Waters is, okay, I'm going to show you guys very quickly. We're going to go through that video real quick. It's not very long, just so you guys have more context, right? But essentially, Maxine Waters is a former representative that went out to a rally, and instead of calming people, getting people to be more level-headed, having a protest, but, in a more peaceful way, this is some of the stuff that she went out to say. So let's go on to the article. Let me see if I can find it. Well, here, I'll read the whole thing. That's fine. Joe Collins, a Navy veteran and South Los Angeles native who ran against Representative Maxine Waters, as a Democrat from California, in November, argued on Monday that she must be removed from office because she is, quote, very dangerous. And her actions and rhetoric are, quote, absolutely irresponsible. Collins made the comments on Fox and Friends 2 days ago after Waters showed up at an anti-police brutality protest in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, and said demonstrators needed to, quote, stay on the street and demanded justice until police reform becomes a reality. She said, I'm going to fight with all of the people who stand for justice. Waters told reporters shortly before an 11 p.m. curfew. We've got to get justice in this country, and we cannot allow these killings to continue. Asked about the Derek Chauvin murder trial in Minneapolis, Waters told reporters if the former police officer isn't found guilty of murdering George Floyd, okay, get this, we've got to stay on the street and we've got to get more active, wink, and we've got to get more confrontational. So I will say this, when it comes to the trial of George Floyd, I am very much waiting to hear the final verdict. I've been following it. I've been covering it a lot on here, but I've been following it. At the end of the day, we have to trust that our legal system will, especially when played out very publicly, as this trial has been, by the way, will play out in the favor of justice. Everybody has different opinions over what justice is, but understand that your opinion of what justice is not what legally will be the result. Your feelings have no way in what should happen in a courtroom. We wouldn't have courtrooms. We wouldn't have a legal system, right? You can't have it both ways. You can have your feelings be heard, but also you want a legal reform for our legal system. No. Okay. But for her to go out there and basically tell people very publicly, if it's kind of like throwing a tantrum, if he doesn't get convicted, basically if my feelings aren't met, right? My desires, then I want people to stay out here, regardless of what people have been told about a curfew. And like you see there, get more active. What do you think that means? Of course, she's a politician. She knows how to use her words. What do you think that means? More active? More riots. More riots. That's what she means. More confrontational. The words are as clear as daylight. What does more confrontational mean to you guys? You guys can change the dictionary definitions all you want. For those of you guys that are saying, that's not true, JT, that's not what she's saying. I mean, sometimes you got to read between the lines with these politicians. It's what they do best, right? You guys, a lot of people can't sit here and say, you see what Trump is doing? You see what Trump did? You see what Trump said? Blah, blah, blah. Always Trump, 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 Trump. As I've heard it continuously. But then when it comes to a Democratic representative that's out here saying more active, we're going to get more active and more confrontational, you can't be like, oh, that doesn't really mean anything. No. And here, we're going to go to that very last clip to show you guys exactly how another individual that ran against her basically agrees with some of the stuff that I'm saying here. So let's watch that clip real quick.
Maxine Waters is a complete disgrace to the United States and to South LA. I'll tell you this. I took my team to Minneapolis after Mr. Floyd was killed, and we led one of the most peaceful demonstrations that the city have ever seen, and it left the city in peace. Now, the United States Constitution is absolutely clear on issues for elected officials getting involved in, rallies like this that will be considered an insurrection. Section 14, Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, coupled with 18 U.S.C. 2383 as well as 2384, is specific. And now we have to call on Congress to do their job. It's time to remove Maxine Waters from office. She is very dangerous, and her actions and rhetoric is absolutely irresponsible.
All right. So there again, he is essentially making a case as to why, we should have someone like Maxine removed. Josh?
Whether it's the US government or some secret society that's running your country, they're all laughing at you. It's the people that carry on getting, pardon my French, it's the people that just carry on getting fucked over by corporations and losing all their money, pretty much. It's stuff like this. These are all distractions. The media is a big distraction from what the real problem is. They're just sending out this divide and conquer bullshit, basically fight amongst ourselves while these guys pretty much raise the price of living, destroy the rainforest, and, pretty much destroy the planet. And we're fine with it because we're just fighting amongst ourselves over bullshit we shouldn't be fighting over.
Yeah, in large part, you're not wrong there. I mean, we have people, right, as we're seeing here in the media and in politics, out there trying to incite just more violence, right? And what is the end goal here, right? Let's be honest here. To profit in some ways, right? That's really what it is. Because let me ask anybody thinking that that's not what Maxine is doing. You really think she's going to go to jail? Mm-hmm. All right?
No.
Right? She's out there violating the curfew, as you just saw in the article. She didn't give a shit about the curfew. Right? She's in politics. She's supposed to respect, a legal process and legal orders. And again, telling people we're going to get more loud. We're going to get more active. What does that tell you?
Mm-hmm.
Or confrontational. So,
well, sure. I can agree with that sentiment. Yeah, maybe being more active, and actually protesting in the way that that gent said. He said, and actually showed there were videos of people peacefully protesting. Fantastic. Great. People need to have their voices heard as well. And people have the right to be able to have their voices heard. Absolutely. But she's just another career politician saying stuff to be woke. She's just as bad as Biden. More bullshit.
Josh, you made me so happy. I'm not because I've said it here on the show before, right? I was never a big fan of Trump. I don't get, blinded. I don't allow it to be romanticized, right? By anybody's little speech or rally. I've said publicly that there are some things that I support that he did. I didn't think he was 100% useless. But I've actually thought that about most presidents. I was also not a big fan of Obama. Still not. Or Bush, right? I started getting into politics around Bush when I was still in high school. And, Obama came along, and first couple of years, we're like, okay, looks like a good guy. Then that second term came along, and it's like, oh, okay, all right. I started, really waking up to not having those biases and being, just letting myself get, romanticized over a cool little speech or things like, the politicians do, right? The little sayings or little remarks. Mm-hmm. I see past that crap. I'm interested in seeing their accomplishments. And I'm the same way freaking with Biden, right? People thinking, oh, Biden's going to be this savior of American people. I mean, if I don't know what to tell you, man. If you think that, some man that bleeds shit, eats just like us will be a savior. Like, I don't understand, and I made fun of people that thought that about Trump, because it's going to take more than just one man, one president. I hate when people say, oh, the most powerful person in the world is the U.S. president. You are out of your effing mind, dude. Right? Go to Russia and tell that to Putin. Hell, go to the Philippines and tell that to Duterte. Even though they're an island, they're much smaller than the U.S. That guy, don't forget, is the guy that told Obama that he was a son of a bitch. right? It's Americans and how some Americans, not all, allow themselves to be brainwashed by all this crap, right? It has nothing to do with, arguing if America is a great country or not. America is a great country based on the people that habitat said country, right? And the more people that are level-headed, that see past BS, like Andrew Cuomo, we just saw try to spill out there in national television, the more people that say no to that say no to dividing, right, based on the color of her skin, the better America will be. This is it. You know, it's not about the right. It's not about the left. There could be good people, on the Democratic side and on the Republican side. It is possible if we don't allow ourselves to be divided by the bullshit, racist narrative that, these manipulators, master manipulators, I might add, are just trying to push down our throats, right? And just work you like a effing puppet. That's all we are to them. Voters, when they need us to vote, that's what we are, and after that, we're like, we're pretty much useless to them. Really, that's what it is. But, yeah. I mean,
that's beautiful, man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. That's it for today, guys. It's just a quick show, get these stories out there, let us know what you guys think down below. You guys disagree. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with, someone telling me to disagree. And if you agree, also let us know. We'd love to hear, what are your points? What is your experiences? And, and with that, until next time, see you.